Welcome back to the Accessible Art History YouTube channel. This week, I have another episode of the 5 Must-See Masterpieces series. In this video, we will be traveling to the Thyssen-Bornemisza Museum in Madrid, Spain. Although this museum is quite new, it has a fantastic collection and is considered to be a part of Madrid's Golden Triangle. It is important to note that these are only 5 of the amazing works held within their collection, so to learn more about this incredible museum, then keep on watching. The Thyssen-Bornemisza Museum's collection was created from one of the greatest private collections of the 20th century. Heinrich Thyssen, a noble baron from Germany, was an avid art collector. He used his family's wealth to buy old master paintings from impoverished American businessmen during the Great Depression. His son Hans would continue building the family collection, although his tastes were a bit more modern. It was Hans's 5th wife, Carmen Tita Severa, who convinced him to move the family collection to Spain, her home country. In 1992, the private collection was officially opened to the public as the Thyssen-Bornemisza Museum, but it wasn't until 1993 that it was sold to the Spanish state. The government bought 775 works for an astounding $350 million. In addition, Severa loaned her collection to the state. Although the agreement expired in 2011, she continues to renew it every year so that people can enjoy it. Today, the Thyssen-Bornemisza collection has around 1,600 works that span 800 years of art in its collections, and about 1 million people visit each year. Duccio is one of the most important artists in the history of art. His work started the shift towards the Renaissance, bridging the gap of old and new. However, not much of it survives, so it's remarkable that the museum has this piece in its collection. It is a scene of Christ and the Samaritan woman and dates from between 1310 and 1311. This piece is actually a part of Duccio's famed Maesta altarpiece. It was disassembled around 1771. Though the largest and most important panels do remain in Siena, Italy, the smaller ones were purchased by wealthy families. One of the most remarkable parts about this work is the fact that there's an active narrative taking place. Before Duccio, things were more static, but Jesus and the woman are using hand gestures to show that they are in conversation. In addition, the well and the town create a sense of three-dimensionality. These artistic changes help push art forward into a more naturalistic style. Henry VIII was King of England from 1509 to 1547. Before his reign, there were very few portraits of English monarchs, but Henry wanted to be remembered by his people, so he brought Hans Holbein in as the official painter of the English court. Holbein painted numerous portraits of the royal family. This one was done in 1537. Although we don't have an exact month, it is likely that it was around the time of the birth of his son and heir, Edward, via his 3rd wife, Jane Seymour. The main objective of this portrait is to project power. At the time, England was in the middle of chaos. Only a few years earlier, Henry VIII had initiated a split between the Roman Catholic Church and his country. The new Church of England was Protestant-based, and Henry was at its head. This caused a lot of turmoil, to say the least. So Holbein painted the king as stoic and authoritative. He is dressed in rich clothes, showing how the treasury of the nation was full. Henry VIII is shown as a powerful king and leader, nothing less and nothing more. This painting of the Annunciation is one of numerous painted by El Greco. Art historians, using stylistic analysis, believe that this one was painted shortly before El Greco left Italy for Spain, probably around 1576. It is a fairly standard composition. Mary sits on the left-hand side, devoutly reading her prayer books. The angel Gabriel sweeps in from the right, about to deliver the news that Mary will bear the Son of God. However, we do see elements of El Greco's unique style throughout this piece. For example, the elongated forms and bright, vibrant colors are markers of his work. The use of wavy lines and brushstrokes create a sense of dynamic movement. There is also the slightest hint of emotion in Mary's face and body. I mean, who wouldn't be shocked at an angel flying into the room? These elements are hallmarks of El Greco's work and an extension of the Mannerist style. Saint Catherine of Alexandria is one of the most popular saints in the history of art. Her resilience and faith truly struck a chord with people. This portrait of her was painted between 1598 through 99 by Michelangelo Merci di Caravaggio, who is most commonly known by his last name. We know for sure that this is St. Catherine because she is shown with a spiked wheel, the torture instrument used on her, a sword, the manner of her death, and the palm leaf of the martyrs. But Caravaggio, as he tended to do, put his own spin on the saint. Firstly, she is painted in a naturalistic pose. Her body isn't stiff, but leans softly to the side. In addition, her clothes are made of heavy fabrics that are elaborately draped. He used a deep color palette and a slightly dramatic use of light. These are signs of the early Baroque period, as we don't have the sense of drama in later work. But Caravaggio, always a troublemaker, chose to use a well-known courtesan, Filinde Melandrone, as a model for St. Catherine. He always liked to push the buttons of society. Vincent van Gogh has always been one of the favorite artists of museum goers. His works are filled with color and emotion and remind us of the humans behind the paintbrush. This particular piece was painted in 1890 and is of the countryside where he spent the last few months of his life. Sadly, Van Gogh died via suicide not long after this work was finished. Upon first glance, it's hard to see the pain that Van Gogh was in before his death. The bright color palette, consisting of mainly yellow and green, creates a light and airy scene of the French countryside. There is a small village in the background, but our eyes focus on the big open fields in the foreground. It speaks to open freedom. However, looking closely, we can see the frenzied, almost erratic brushstrokes. It creates a certain stress to the piece. Many have interpreted this as Van Gogh's freedom at living there, but feelings of loneliness that came along with it. The Thyssen-Bornemisza Museum is truly a jewel in the European museum scene. What started out as a private collection was turned into a glorious public space filled with 8 centuries of art. Remember, these are only 5 pieces that I picked out, so make sure to check out their website to see even more.